Hey hockey player, we're back once again for another episode of the Ask Coach Garner series. Right now, we're in Season 1, Episode 5, and to catch you up to date, I've got a selection of questions right here that I have to answer in 90 seconds or less, or else Kevin's going to cut me right off and I'm going to have to move on to the next one. Let's get right into it here. First question. For 11 to 14-year-old female hockey players, there's a lot of hip change affecting how their outside edge comes back to middle in stride. I'm wondering what you recommend, or if you're interested in doing a podcast on women's strength training or even developing one. Yeah, absolutely. So first and foremost, I am going to be doing a podcast on this, but you can also expect a women's-specific hockey training program sometime in the future as well. But to get more at your question, females' hip structure does change during the puberty process. And what this does is it affects something known as a Q angle, which is the angle at which the femur is in line with the hip. In the younger years, it's more right in line with the hip, similar to a male's. But as they go through puberty and the hips widen, the Q angle ends up more on this direction, which causes greater shearing forces in the knee, which causes a knee stability issue. That's where I would be focusing on correcting the stride technique. On-ice technique is not myself, but I can strengthen the muscle groups and coordination sequences that are responsible for helping that. That comes down to knee stability. Lots of step-ups, lots of Peterson step-ups, and lots of hack squat work can all work very well here, but avoid a lot of vertical power exercises and a lot of sprints during this time because the Q angle causes too much force on that knee. Next question. With so much of the game being played along the walls, what are some good exercises to do to improve that part of the game? Well, when you're playing along the walls of the game, you got to be strong on the puck. And when you want to be strong in the puck, you got to be strong. It's as simple as that. And when it comes to being strong, a lot of people want to build up the mirror muscles, right? You want to build up your arms, you want to build up your chest. Although that plays a role in it, what is truly going to make you strong is your foundation. Your foundation is your lower body and your core. When you have a strong lower body, you are ironed down to the ice. And when you have core stability, nobody's going to be moving you and you're going to be moving other people. So work on your lower body a lot and work on your core a lot. I'd want you primarily to be focusing, of course, on the big movements such as squat variations, split squat variations, deadlift variations, chin up and pull up variations, but getting very strong, not just in your abdominals, but your inner core. So doing plenty of planks and RKC planks as well. Next question. What is the approximate amount of sleep needed for a hockey player? Would naps be a factor? And if so, how long should they be for optimal performance before hockey games? The approximate amount of sleep for a hockey player lies within 7 to 9 hours. This varies from person to person, and there's actually a genetic factor as well, where some people can get away with even only 5 to 6 hours of sleep per night and still have no disruption whatsoever in their hormones, in their blood sugar, in their energy, in their recovery, nothing. They're just faster sleepers. But that genome is very rare. It affects less than 2% of the population. So the majority of people here would require 7 to 9 hours of sleep per night every single night. That's what you should be aiming for. When it comes to naps, one of the biggest rules for naps is they should not be longer than 20 minutes. So if you're gonna sleep for longer than 20 minutes, you're gonna actually start entering. There are 3 different levels of non-REM sleep, so non-rapid eye movement sleep. You're gonna go level 1, 2, 3, but then you're gonna get into rapid eye movement sleep. And if you nap for too long, you can disrupt your sleep-wake cycle, or what's known as your circadian rhythm, and wake up actually feeling worse than before your nap. So make it 20 minutes or less and sleep 7 to 9 hours a night. Next question. I'm a 50-year-old beer league player. I want to skate faster. Am I dreaming or should I stick to the beer? You don't have to stick to the beer. If you're a 50-year-old, beer is something that can really reduce your testosterone. There's actually a study in Finland done in young, healthy, resistance-trained males who drank 5 days in a row and actually saw a reduction in testosterone by about 19%. So that's a lot of reduction in testosterone, even for young males. So I know you're joking, but it's something that can impact your performance and recovery in the long run. With that said, you can absolutely get faster. faster, I would totally recommend my Men's League Annihilation program. When you're older, your recovery capacity is a little bit less than it used to be. I'm sure you've felt that. The Men's League Annihilation program I've created is only 3 days per week, but it includes all of your strength training, your speed, and your conditioning work that can absolutely make you a faster hockey player. Beer or not? Next question. A guy like Milan Lucic is just jacked, muscle everywhere, no fat, just chiseled. But when it comes to speed, it's not there compared to other guys who are lighter and smaller. How does a bigger guy get faster when you have no fat to lose and muscle is already there? Just because muscle's there doesn't mean it's fast, right? Or else powerlifters or bodybuilders would also be very fast. We both know that that's not true. One thing that is very important to understand when it comes to program design is that is what makes the difference between a training program and a hockey training program. Something that you should know is that any form of resistance training we've seen in the research can actually convert type 2X muscle fibers into type 2A muscle fibers, which are still explosive, but not as explosive. And that's any form of resistance training. So what we try to do with hockey training program design is ensure we're including power-based exercises where you're only using 50% of your 1 rep max and moving as explosively as possible. This dramatically reduces the conversion of type 2X fibers to type 2A and therefore keeps and even accelerates your explosive speed ability. So get on a hockey training program. I would recommend Next Level Speed 2.0 at hockeytraining.com/programs. Next question. In your experience with pro athletes, even in different sports, how do some of them continue to stay hungry while others have their drive for success fade? Quite often, that big contract comes in and their production stalls or goes down, yet others continue to roll at a very high level. Any thoughts? Yeah, it's really how you identify yourself. Some people are so genetically gifted that they'll actually just work for money. And when that money comes in, they will leave because they were never actually a dedicated hockey player, a dedicated fighter, a dedicated football player. They were never actually that identity. That identity was not them. The athletic part was their job. And that was it. But most athletes who continue to succeed even after massive success, those are the people who identify with who they are. For example, if you were a UFC fighter right now and I gave you a UFC title, would you feel like the champion of the world even though you had the title? Absolutely not. A title means absolutely nothing to a UFC fighter. They want the title of the baddest man on the planet. That's what wakes them up in the morning. That's what they think about before bed. And that's what they think about when they're kicking ass in the gym. You have to be true to your identity. You can't just be given a Stanley Cup. You have to earn it and be a Stanley Cup champion. That's how you stay motivated in the long run. All right, I hope you guys liked this video. If you learned anything or you enjoyed it, make sure you smash that thumbs up button and subscribe to the channel as well. And for more information on hockey training, click on the link in the description below.